Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wrestling Prime. I am your host, Tom Dog, and we have a pretty interesting show lined up here tonight. I was just getting everything, all the notes lined up for tonight's evening because we have a lot of things that went down on Raw, and we're going to get right into it. And plus, also, I have a huge announcement later at the end of the show, and so it's going to be very, very interesting. So, with that being said, let's get to the plugs. Actually, this episode is brought to you by M&J Video Games and Collectibles. You can trade in your old video games and consoles. Trade in your retro video games, accessories, and systems. Trade in your DVD box sets and Blu-rays. You can also trade in your sports cards and novelty items, as well as wrestling collectibles and autographed items spanning from sports, wrestling, and actors. If you happen to be in the Connecticut area, and there's a list of events that are going on here with M&J Video Games and Collectibles, definitely worth checking out because they're a lot of fun. Not too long ago, Tony Atlas was in town, so they have a lot of wrestling events coming up and everything like that. So be sure to check. So as soon as I get all that information, I will relay that to you on the next episode. So for more information on directions, if you happen to be in the Connecticut area, and the list of events that are going on, you can check out their website at mjvideogamesandcollectibles.com. So it's definitely worth checking out. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about what happened on Raw. It was a very interesting show because everybody was anticipating Roman Reigns' return. He came back tonight to talk about about his update with his cancer. As you well know, near the end of near the end of fall of last year, he pretty much took some time off to take care of his cancer and everything, and it was pretty sad. It was a sad moment and everything, and it's something that I don't want to wish on anybody. So he had to take some time off. We didn't know when it was going to happen, and so he was in good spirits tonight. He came out and gave us an update on his cancer, and there's some very good news. He is cancer free. So congratulations to Roman on that. He fought a good fight, and he overcame the odds and everything. So I'm glad to see him back, and he actually came out perfectly. He came out with Seth Rollins later on in the evening to help out Dean Ambrose because he was getting jumped by Elias. Dean Ambrose was getting jumped by Elias, Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, and Drew McIntyre. They were all pounding him. There was a no disqualification match and everything, so the match pretty much ended at that point. But then all of a sudden Seth Rollins came out, and then all of a sudden Roman Reigns came out, and both clean house. Roman Reigns Superman punched everybody, and basically clean house, saving Dean Ambrose in the process. And when Dean Ambrose came to, he saw that he was the only one left standing in the ring, and he looked out into the hall, to the entranceway on the entrance ramp, and saw that Dean Ambrose and that Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were standing out there, and so it was very interesting. So it was great to see that happen. So who knows? I'm looking to see that that the Shield is going to return. So so who knows what's there to say and everything. So it was really good. Becky Lynch got arrested as well later on in the evening. She did a run-in when during the tag team match involving the Riot Squad taking on Natalia and the Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. So Becky Lynch did a run-in, and she wasn't supposed to be there because she's still under suspension, and she got taken out by security and got arrested by the police. So it was pretty crazy, and so very tough. It's like I really want to see Becky Lynch involved in the match at WrestleMania. We're gonna be talking more about it on next episode, but it was pretty about what I feel about this lineup that's going on involving the WrestleMania match. We're gonna talk about that next time, but Becky Lynch is becoming a badass and everything, and I like it, and it's nice to see that the women's division is actually getting a lot of notoriety these days, and with the women's tag team championships out of the way after the Elimination Chamber last week. I think it was last week or the week before. It was a very good, it was still a very good show, and I was actually really glad. I was really glad about that, and the fact that they, that these women really work their butt off and really show that. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen next, and I really want to see Becky Lynch main event at this year's WrestleMania. Just do something and everything. So I would like to see that happen. And now, Ric Flair's birthday celebration came out. Snoop Dogg gave a few words via phone. Stone Cold said a few words too via iPhone. It was a nice birthday shout out to everybody, to Ric Flair and everything, who turned 70 this past weekend. So happy birthday to Ric Flair, Nature Boy. Woo! So really happy birthday to the Nature Boy. Still champion in my book and everything. So again, happy birthday. I sent out a little tweet to him over the weekend and everything, wishing him a happy birthday, and still jet flying and limousine riding, styling and profiling. There you go. So happy birthday again to Ric Flair, and it was a good ceremony. They had Triple H came out, Shawn Michaels, Stephanie McMahon as well, Sting, Ricky Steamboat. It was really, it's sad to see, it was sad that we didn't see Arn Anderson there. There's some mixed signals going on. I don't know if he was like released or fired by WWE. I don't know. There were some misconceptions there, but yeah, it would have been really nice to see, to really see him there. It would have been nice for Arn to be there, but fortunately he was let go by WWE. I don't know if it was, again, I don't know if it was suspension or he asked for his release. I don't know. So it is very, very difficult to say. But it couldn't have come at a worse time, because Ric Flair, it's Ric Flair's birthday. He, and then you got to have a Horseman. He should have had at least one Horseman member. I know Sting was in the Horseman, but if you want want to talk about the original Horsemen. We're going back, with Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, um, and Tully Blanchard. Those guys. That was the Horsemen right there, and of course you had um, Bill Watts as well too. Not Bill Watts. James J.J. Dillon. There you go. I always get those two. I always seem to get those two mixed up, but yeah. Um, but they presented out the a special belt for Ric Flair, which was to commemorate his time with the NWA. It was a nice looking world heavyweight belt to commemorate his many championships, and that was it was a very beautiful belt. I absolutely love that belt, and it was nice to see that revitalized with a nice shimmer. It was very beautiful belt, and WWE hats off to you for that as well. And then Ric Flair was supposed to come out, but that got interrupted by Dave Bautista. He actually showed up. He made a surprise appearance on Raw. Very surprising. Nobody really expected him to be there, and he went into Flair's dressing room, and beat the hell out of him. Dragged him out into the hallway, and he was like, "Got my attention." So I guess they're setting up some sort of match at WrestleMania, Batista versus Triple H, and I don't have a problem with that. I guess this was a really good build up. I guess this is like the perfect build up. Triple H, avenging his friend for what Batista did. So I'm already gonna like that. So Triple H is gonna I guess we're gonna see what happens on SmackDown. But yeah, it was a very good it was a very good show. And very interesting way to close out. Triple H goes out there and just screaming for help to get some medical attention for Ric Flair because he just got attacked. You know what I mean? So he's gonna save us from. But we're gonna see. I'm really ready to see what's going to happen on SmackDown tomorrow. So on Tuesday. So we're gonna see. So I'm hoping to see what happens. So we're gonna continue. I guess they're gonna continue that unless they're gonna hold off until next week. But who knows? But overall, the show was actually pretty decent, so not a bad showing. And now, before we put this episode to a close this evening, I have a huge announcement. So, every year, for a while now, I've been doing a Wrestling Prime Hall of Fame. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically commemorating a lot of history with my group, Wrestling Prime, and it's something that I've is one of the first shows that I've done back in cable access. One of the shows that holds very near and dear to my heart, and a lot of memorable moments. I inducted my the very first inductee. I forgot how long ago it was, but of course, I inducted my father, who was a tremendous help, who was a tremendous impact with Wrestling Prime. So he was the very first. Last year, I inducted. Who did I induct last year? Oh man, see, I have to go back in my notes and see who I inducted last year. But still, it was a very good show. I think Ron Zombie. I almost said Rob Zombie. It was like, White Zombie. No way. But no, there was a wrestler by the name of uh, Ron Zombie. So he looked kind of like Rob Zombie if you think about it. So we put him in there last year. Oh yeah, I also I put in there Just Incredible, um, who's a local here in my area, as well as Joel Gertner, um, who was a big fan of Wrestling Prime back in the day and everything. So it was always really good to hear from him. But also, so yeah, um, so Wrestling Prime has been around since 1996. We took some time off for a while, and we kept bringing it back and everything. And I'm glad to be bringing it back now, um, more often than I have been and everything. So it is very good to see that happen. Um, so um, one of the we had some very fond moments back in the day, and a show came around a rival show came around 20 years ago, and it was Shockwave Wrestling, and we never really we didn't work together before, but we had a nice little feud going on there at the time, but we never had a face off or a clash or anything like that, like no invasion angle or anything. I think it would have been really cool, but and of course years later, Sledgehammer would return, would make a comeback, but this time joining the Wrestling Prime roster. Um, for everybody, for those of you who don't know, he did the WrestleMania review um, last year with me, and is one of my favorite videos because that was like one of the first times I ever got a chance to work alongside with him that didn't involve us doing promos together. We did eventually years later have a match, um, because we did backyard wrestling back in the day and everything. So, but it was a lot, it was a lot of fun, and we had a nice little there was a nice little tag match. Me and my father against Dan the Man, another Wrestling Prime Hall of Famer, and his partner was Sledgehammer, and so it was a very good match. It was a pretty decent match, and it's a shame I can't put that on here because music, with the copyright and everything like that. But I would really love to have that on there. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe sometime, you know, we'll get the chance to put that on there. But but anyways, um, but yeah, it was a really good time, and you know, this was at a time when WWE and WCW were clashing together and everything. So it just sort of happened by by accident, from out of nowhere, I guess you could say. And Shockwave Wrestling had a pretty decent show, and but Wrestling Prime still hanged on and everything like that, still stayed strong, and we didn't really worry about it that much. Um, we had some exchange words and everything like that, but not face to face. It was like they were they would cut a promo on us, or we would cut a promo on them in retaliation. But we were more focused on what we were doing, and but after their show folded and everything like that, a lot of the guys came over. Some of the guys came over, including Sledge, to make an impact on Wrestling Prime, and they did. They did a pretty good job, and as an act of kindness, it is with great pleasure to induct this year of the Wrestling Prime Hall of Fame every single person involved with Shockwave Wrestling to be inducted into the Wrestling Prime Hall of Fame. And the guest of honor, of course, will be the Sledgehammer. He's been with us, and he was, made a tremendous impact over the years and everything. So, and a great way to bring that out. So, it is a great honor to to have every single person involved with Shockwave Wrestling, whether it was the you know with whatever storylines or angles that they had and everything like that, they're all going in. So congratulations to Sledge and all you guys at Shockwave Wrestling. You guys were amazing. You guys were amazing to watch. Even though we were rivals back then, you were still very amazing to watch. So, again, this is my gift to you guys in honor of your 20th anniversary of Shockwave Wrestling. So, congratulations to Sledge and all you guys involved. With that, you guys definitely deserved it. So, it is truly, once again, a great honor to induct you guys into the Wrestling Prime Hall of Fame. So, well, that's pretty much all the time I have for today. Definitely thumbs up the video if you like it. Follow me on Twitter at TomDog247. If you missed any of tonight's program, it's a pretty quick one, so definitely worth checking out as soon as I turn off the camera. Again, leave a thumbs up the video if you like it. Ringy dingy that bell so you can stay notified on what I'm going to be doing next. Comment down below of you think Becky Lynch is going to fight at WrestleMania. Leave your comment down below. Or what, and also what you thought about tonight's Raw. Again, leave a comment down below. And more importantly, more than anything in the world, to be the man, you got to be the man. To be the champ, be a champion, and body slam that subscribe button. We will see you again next time on Wrestling Prime. This is Tom Dog saying take care, so long, peace.